Hi everybody. Today we're talking about stress reduction in real time. So this is one of the practices that I'm going to do today. I'm going to take a big inhale through my nose. Fill up, take another little inhale, forced air. Breathe out through the mouth, long, slow exhale. This helps to reduce stress in real time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Darnell Cox. I'm a 55-year-old gerontologist and healthy aging coach, helping you look and feel your best at every age. Okay, so oh my gosh. I was supposed to come on at 11. Did you guys see my story? Holy shit. I'm walking outside. There's construction all over. We have construction on the hill. I've got people putting in lighting around the steps going down. I've got people trimming trees. It's a very, very crazy Saturday. You can hear it. I'm going to let you guys hear it. It's insane what's happening. So we're talking about stress reduction. And I'm walking outside to do this Instagram Live with a full cup of boiling hot mushroom coffee in a clear glass. The bottom of the cup breaks off, spilling boiling hot mushroom coffee all over my brand new floors in the kitchen of this house that we just moved into, our new home. And that was at 10:59. So I did what I just did, took a big inhale through my nose, filled my lungs up, took another little inhale, and then long, slow exhale. So this is an exhale focused type of stress reduction. Let me see if I had any questions. Yeah, the floors, I ended up wiping them up with a bunch of towels and then trying to wipe it as best as I could and get out here. This is a 2-part series, you guys. I'm going to be talking about stress for the next couple of days. If this is too much, if you guys can hear this and this is too much, because it is borderline too much for me, I can come back tomorrow and just do the whole thing tomorrow, but let's see how far I can get. What do you guys think? Or do you think it's better if I just let this whole thing kind of calm down and come back tomorrow with, because this is a lecture, this is a lot of information that we're going to talk about here. Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm just going to keep going then. So this is how to reduce stress right now. I can hear the buzzing in the backyard, but that's life. Oh my God, that is life. And I think that that's really part of the focus that I really wanted to talk about. Oh, thanks, Christine, it's fine. I'm going to really try to zone in my brain then, because I'm all over the face. Hi, Grana3.df, hi. Okay, it's absolutely okay. So we're going to talk about stress today. I'm going to talk about stress for the next 2 days. Like everything that I do, I feel like it's super important to understand the how and the why of why our body and our skin works in this miraculous way that it does. Because when you understand that, all of the mechanisms at play, you're much more likely to incorporate the lifestyle hacks that I teach. So fingers crossed, I can get through this with all of the stress that's in here. I'm going to start this one more time. I'm going to take a big inhale through my nose. I'm going to fill up my lungs. I'm going to take another little inhale to just force the air in. I'm going to take a long, slow, longer exhale than my inhale. So I'm going to start right now. If you guys want to join me. It is the most scientifically proven way to reduce your stress right now in this moment. That acute stress, the buzzing that you hear, the lawn blowers that we hear, whether it's psychological stress or whether it's the physical stress of taking a freezing cold shower, this is the quickest way to reduce that stress response. You're going to take a big inhale through your nose. Force another little bit of inhale. And then a long, slow exhale, preferably through your mouth. And now I'm going to teach you why that works, okay? So how to reduce stress right now. This is a science-based techniques that actively work on acute stress. So we're not talking about chronic stress. Sorry, I'm going to get comfy. We're not talking about the chronic stress, that low-level stress of just life. We're talking about we are in crisis mode right now. We can hear all of the stressors, those things that act on our body, those things that stress us out. We can hear them, we can see them, or we're thinking them. This is the way that all the research is pointing to is the number one way. Breath and meditation is also useful. Absolutely. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. This is a type of breath work that is focused on the exhalation, right? You're not focusing on the inhalation of filling everything up. You're focusing on that exhalation. And when you're doing that, I'm going to teach you the biology of what happens in our brain. But we're going to talk about, long bunch of evidence on meditation, on breath work, on different types of relaxation. All of that is so great for that chronic stress. But when you are in the moment right now, when you drop an entire cup of mushroom coffee in your brand new house, 1 minute before you go on an Instagram Live, and then you come out here and there's all this noise pollution, that's what I'm talking about, that kind of stress. Because it's that kind of stress that if we're not dealing with it, it increases that low level chronic stress, it increases that set point. So I know. Chrono just said, oh no, yeah, I think I cleaned it up enough to where it's not going to stain my floors, but here's what we're talking about. So we're not talking about that mindfulness. We're not talking about that, being in the present moment. We're talking about trying to stop that physiological stress response that happens, okay? So that's the brain, the gut, the muscles, the liver, the spleen, digestion, the spleen, all of that whole nervous system to deal with the outside world, okay? So what is stress, first of all? Not all stress is bad. So stress actually comes to our aid to help us, right? We as humans are survivors. We've been dealing with this whole system, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, since we were drawing on cave walls, okay? This has been our system that we've had for a very long time. And we need stress to keep us alert. So yes, life has gotten more difficult, but the system that works with our body that is designated to handle many things has not really changed for thousands of years. Okay, so there are hardwired biological mechanisms that make up the autonomic nervous system. And that autonomic nervous system is that system in which it's automatic, right? Kind of in the word, it's in the title, autonomic nervous system. It's automatic. We don't have to think about it. It just happens. We don't have to think about our heart to make our heart beat. We don't have to think about our breathing to breathe. It's just something that automatically happens, right? And we're hardwired for that. And our bodies have been utilizing that autonomic nervous system since I said we were drawing on cave walls. So we have a system for stress and a system for de-stressing, and everyone has that. And this is great news, right? Because it means that we actually have a pathway in which we can influence the intensity of the stress that we're subjected to. We have a pathway. Now, I know that many of you just want the answers. You just want those, what are the tools? What are the tools? We're going to do it one more time for those of you just joining, and I'm going to probably do it several times while I'm here, because when I'm in the middle of this isn't crisis mode, but I know what crisis looks like, but when we're in the middle of like a high stress situation, the quickest way, and this is research coming out of UCLA, this is research coming out of Stanford, this is research coming out of USC, maybe it's not USC, Stanford and UCLA for sure. The quickest way is that breath work of focusing on the exhale. So it is a physiological sigh. We have that sometimes before we go to bed, right? That's an automatic thing that happens. But we can force this in the middle of high stress by inhaling through the nose. And if you have a deviated septum, you can do it through your mouth as well. It's not a problem, but preferably through the nose. You inhale through the nose. You don't have to hold it, just inhale. When you think you're filled up, little extra inhale. Long, drawn out exhale through the mouth, if possible, okay? So that's the tool that we're working with today. That's the physiological sigh. Tomorrow, I'm going to be going over meditation. I'm going to be doing other breath work. We're going to spend the next couple days really dealing with stress. And this is, here's why. Here's why, because people just think like, oh, stress is stress and everybody stresses and we'll just, it'll pass. It's true, all stress passes. That's how our body is made. Our parasympathetic nervous system will take over eventually and decrease that stress. But the reason why you want to get a handle on your stress is because stress is the root cause of all age-related diseases and chronic diseases. So anything from cancer to cardiovascular disease, the root cause of that is inflammation, and stress causes inflammation in our bodies. So if you want to live longer, you got to figure out a way to manage your stress, right? Whether it's acute stress like now, or whether it's that chronic stress, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay, so stress is the response. So I want to just clarify these two things, because we're talking about both psychological stress, right? Mental anguish, you just broke up, you just moved homes, big stressor. You just got married, or you're going through a divorce. There's a lot of big stressors in life, right? So there's psychological stress, and then there's physical stress. And I'm talking about both, because our body doesn't know the difference. Our body doesn't know the difference because it's the same systems that work, okay? So stress can also cause us to make poor lifestyle choices. So whether you're reaching for that glass of wine or you're reaching for a glazed donut, if you are stressed, if you're in stress mode, you're not going to make the healthy lifestyle choices that are going to help you live longer and look better while doing it. So stress is the response to the stressors. My elevated heart rate is a response to me dropping the mushroom coffee all over the kitchen floor just now and having to clean it up before this live. So now we have a helicopter going over. I don't know if this is all pouring through the screen, through the mic on this Instagram live, but there's a lot of stuff going on here that is an acute stressor. So whether we're talking about the mental stress or whether we're talking about the physical stress of like not sleeping enough, our bodies still do the same thing. They still handle it in those same two pathways: the sympathetic nervous system, which gets us that fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is otherwise named the rest and digest sympathetic nervous. Oh my God, my brain. Whether it's physical or psychological, you're still going to use those two pathways: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, so the sympathetic nervous system, let's just go over that really quickly. Hi for all of you guys that are joining just now. So the sympathetic nervous system, when you're presented with a stressor, and like I said, this can be physical or emotional, in the middle of your body, so in the middle of your body, from your neck to about your belly, we have this group of neurons called the chain ganglia. You don't need to remember that. Just know that there is a group of neurons that set off that stress response, okay? And these neurons release acetylcholine to various organs, right? Could be on your heart, be your lungs. They reduce your spleen, your liver. Various organs, these neurons release acetylcholine. And this stimulates the release of epinephrine, which is adrenaline. So let's just think about that. Everybody's heard of adrenaline, right? It's the thing that keeps your heart rate up, makes your breathing, more intense or more quick. That's what adrenaline does. So it's this chain of reaction that happens when we're presented with a stressor that then eventually stimulates the release of adrenaline. In the muscles, this causes us to want to move. So when adrenaline is released in the muscles, it causes us to want to move, which is why a lot of people take their stress to the gym, right? And they just work out and work out and work out because stress makes us want to move. If we're not moving and we're just ruminating in our thoughts, have you ever been so stressed out that when you're ruminating in your thoughts, your body's almost vibrating? That's because that stress response wants us to move. So we could be agitated, we could be saying things that we don't mean. It wants us to do something. The stress, creative eye candy, yeah. There is I call it, when your nerves are like raw and you have a stress vibration. That is a psychological stress that is still causing you to want to move. So it ends up in a very shaky, kind of almost like little tremors. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about here? And it causes like a sense of agitation in your brain and in your body. And it makes us want to do something. Like I said, it opens up those blood vessels so they dilate, they open up so more blood gets to all of our vital organs. that we need in that fight or flight. And the other system also, the parasympathetic nervous system, causes our body to then restore back to homeostasis and relax. So what tricks can we use to reduce stress quickly? Oh my gosh, I'm about to have to do this again. I'm going to do this again because our gardener's about to use this blower right next to me. I'm going to do an inhale through we're going to end up doing this is the physiological sigh. It is concentrated and more focused on that exhalation of the breath. So I'm going to do it right now just because I can feel myself getting agitated. And I'm going to just calm myself down by taking an inhale through my nose. When I'm filled up, I'm going to take another little forced inhale. And then a slow, long exhale. Okay. So let's talk about the tricks that we can use to reduce the stress quickly. That is one of them. That is the number one stress reduction for acute stress. That's what the research is pointing to. And it's called a physiological sigh. A physiological sigh. 2 inhales, an inhale, regular inhale, and then a forced short inhale and a long extended exhale. That's the physiological sigh, okay? Let's talk about the parasympathetic nervous system for just a little bit, because we talked about the sympathetic nervous system, that bundle of nerves from the neck to the belly that then cause eventually the release of adrenaline. This parasympathetic nervous system is a different bundle of nerves that stem from the back of the neck, the cranial nerves, and they go all the way to they have some in the pelvic region as well. So it affects things like the genitals, the bladders, the anus, other organs that help get our body back to that homeostasis where we are at that resting set point, okay? So how does it work? When you inhale, the lungs expand and the diaphragm, this is very interesting. I wish I would have had a graphic to show you on this, and maybe I'll bring this for tomorrow's live. In fact, I will bring this for tomorrow's live if I can get the printer working, because I tried to print some stuff out for this live so that I can show you, because I like to at least show you a little bit of graphic stuff, especially when we're talking about body parts. But the printer's not hooked up yet because I just moved in. So I will have that for you tomorrow, fingers crossed, on the second session of this. But when you inhale, your lungs expand and your diaphragm moves down, right? It's counterintuitive. We think when we inhale that, we have this feeling of rising. So we think that the diaphragm, the thing that helps to move our lungs in and out, our breath in and out, we think that moves up, but it doesn't. What happens when we inhale is our diaphragm moves down, the lungs expand, and your heart, it gives you more space. So the heart gets more space, the lungs get more space to take in air, the heart gets more space, so it actually expands and grows a little bit. So by the diaphragm moving down with an inhale, moves down, this causes number one, the heart to grow in size, not your metaphorical heart, but your actual physical organ grows a little bit in size, and the blood moves more slowly through a larger heart. And the reason why, the analogy I like to use for this is, think of like the heart rate of a mouse. It's a very small creature. It's a really quick heartbeat, right? Or the heartbeat of an elephant, it's a larger heart, and it's just a slower heartbeat, right? So by doing this, when the heart grows inside, the blood moves through that organ, through that slightly larger organ, a little bit more slowly. And in general, like I said, the bigger the heart, the slower the heartbeat. So when this happens, your brain senses that the heart has slowed with that inhalation, and it sends a signal to your brain that does a chain of events again that speeds up your heart rate. So let's think about this for a second. You inhale, your diaphragm moves down, gives you more room to fill up your lungs. Your heart grows a little bit. The blood that circulates in that heart slows down because it's a larger organ at this point, slightly. That signals your brain to say, oh, my heart rate has slowed a little bit, I need to speed it up. And that's how that cycle continues. That stress cycle continues with an elevated heart rate and elevated breathing. Does everybody understand that? Does that make sense to everybody? Let me just move down here. What a perfect day to talk about stress. I know, Creative Eye Candy, I'm like in it. I'm in it right now. Okay, so let's recap. When we inhale, the diaphragm moves down, the lungs expand, the heart grows, the heart rate increases, and it signals the brain that we need to beat faster, right? So it speeds the heart up, and then we're in this loop. When we exhale, the diaphragm moves up, it squeezes the lungs. It doesn't necessarily squeeze the lungs, but let's just think of it that way. When we exhale, the diaphragm moves up, giving less space for the lungs and heart. So it squeezes the oxygen out of the carbon dioxide out of the lungs. The heart shrinks in size a little bit because the diaphragm has moved up. It's got a lot less space in there. So it shrinks in size. And in shrinking in size, it increases the heart rate again. So think about a mouse heart size. Diaphragm moves up, rolls out the lungs. Let's just say it squeezes out the carbon dioxide out of the lungs, leaving less space for the heart. Heart shrinks a little bit. Heart rate gets the heart rate is a little bit faster when in an exhale, when it's shrunken. It signals the brain. The brain then just says, okay, I need to slow down that breath. I need to slow down that breath. So exhale, diaphragm moves up, squeezing out the lungs. Heart shrinks, heart rate increases like a mouse. Parasympathetic nervous system signals the heart to then slow. So if your inhales, this is the key. If your inhales are longer than your exhales, you're speeding up your heart. If your inhales, I'm going to say it again. If your inhales are longer than your exhales, you are speeding up your heart, producing more stress and activating that stress pathway. If your exhales, however, are longer or more intense, the wind hum kind of breathing, but longer, let's just stick with longer. If your exhales are longer or more intense than your inhales, you're slowing down your heart. And that leads to less stress. Speeding up your heart is more stress. Slowing down your heart is less stress. So why? Let's think about this. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do this again, you guys. Here we are again. We're going to do this again. This is the physiological sigh. We're going to do a double inhale. We don't have to hold it, but we're going to do a regular inhale and then get a little bit more in. And then we're going to do a long extended exhale. So here we go, physiological sigh, and I'll pick up the lecture from there. Inhale through your nose, a little bit more, and long, controlled exhale. Takes about 20 or 30 seconds, but you will feel your heart rate lowering. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to do it one more time. Inhale through your nose. Another one. Short, and exhale long through your mouth. Could do this 2 or 3 different times, okay? When we exhale, our diaphragm moves up, so we just exhaled. Diaphragm moves up, squeezing the air out of the lungs, kind of like you're squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. When you squeeze the bottom, it squeezes that air up, right? So when we exhale, our diaphragm moves up. It squeezes the air out like a tube of toothpaste, crowding the heart and making it temporarily smaller. A smaller heart beats faster like a mouse. Heart rate of a mouse versus like an elephant. And this faster heart rate signals the brain to slow down the heart. It's a constant battle for homeostasis, that set point where we're just chilling, right? We're neither overly excited or overly calm. It's just our normal set point. That's what our body with the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system is constantly struggling to achieve. Okay? And we're going to talk about tomorrow on tomorrow's live, that set point of how when our body is used to this kind of stress, it then becomes chronic stress, and that becomes very, very dangerous. That's going to take years, if not a decade off of your life. So we're going to talk about that and those kind of things tomorrow. But this is all happening at the time. This is all happening at the same time without us even being aware of it. But just because we're not aware of it does not mean that we cannot influence those pathways, because we can. It's more indirect to influence the heart rate, but we can literally influence this movement of the diaphragm just from breathing. Just from breathing. There's so much research on this, so much research. So this is something that we do naturally when we're about to fall asleep or when we're trying to calm down. Like if you're agitated, you're high stress, sometimes you just go. Our bodies automatically do this. Before we go to bed as well, sometimes you'll have that sigh, right? But in doing this, in actively doing this in the middle of a crisis, if you can remember to do that, you can influence that stress cycle to really shorten that. And it doesn't take that, it's not that difficult to do. Anybody can really do this. It's just a matter of thinking about doing it when you're in that stressful environment, okay? So I think that's about it. Do I have anything else? No, I think that's it. Oh my God, I got through the whole kind of lecture on that. Does that make sense to everybody? I think it's so important to understand how the body actually works so that you know how can you then influence those pathways, right? I've got so much stuff going on around me that's stressful, but if I can think about just taking that double inhale and a longer exhale. So the longer your exhale is in comparison to your inhale, you're going to reduce your heart rate. You're going to reduce, that parasympathetic nervous system kicks in and your stress reduces. It takes about 20 or 30 seconds. You might have to do it 1 to 3 times. You can do it various times throughout the day, and you can even do it more than that. So some people will use this before they go to sleep because it will help you to fall asleep. But I find that it's so useful in the middle, when I'm in the middle of like a high stress situation, to do that physiological sigh is so important. And it literally becomes like this cascade of effects that happen where all of a sudden we can exhale. We're able to handle that stress, and that parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, reduces the heart rate, reduces the breathing, and gets us back to that set point again. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope that you guys could hear all of that. Woo! There was a lot going on. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow morning. I'm going to cut this a little bit short just because there's a jackhammer up on this hill. I'm going to do that physiological sigh one more time, and then I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. So here we go. For those of you who are just joining and you want to do this, thanks for craft's sake. Okay. Wait, there was one more thing. Thank you. You have a lot going on. Enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, I have a lot going on. But hey, what better time to research stress and how to reduce stress than when you're in the middle of a shit show of stress, right? That's kind of what's been happening. For those of you who don't know, I have moved to a new home, and it's been like a 2-week process. This is our second night in our new home sleeping here. I have boxes everywhere. I have construction all around me. It's probably, in addition to moving being one of the most stressful things that you can go through, it's all of it. It's not just the move, but it's, the noise pollution and all of those things associated with moving to a new place. The chaos, all of that. I'm in it. Thanks for the congratulations. Thanks for that. Okay, we're going to do one more physiological sigh, and then I'm going to call it a day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 11. Inhale through the nose. Little extra inhale. And then exhale through the mouth. Long, long, long. Okay, you guys. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Mwah. Thanks for putting up with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Okay, bye.